plays to keep everybody fresh and keep everybody in the game, and really caught up and got us. Nobody really knew if we had the first group or the second group, or it was the time to roll again, and so we really had to burn 2 timeouts, wasted 2 timeouts because of substitution. That really falls on me. I just didn't get the right guys out there for the formation that we were trying to call.
You guys obviously weren't able to do a whole lot on offense in the first half. Who's going to be your quarterback starting next game?
Well, I don't know, Cole, he's 3 for 3 right now. He came in 3 weeks ago and did a great job. Last week, he came in the second half, and you know, when you win and lose a game, no one player wins it, no one player loses it. But certainly Cole brings us a lot of energy. He's enthusiastic. The players are excited. And I think Ryan Robertson's a good quarterback too. So the staff will sit down and take a look at it over the weekend, evaluate the video, and not make a decision at this time.
It seemed like Bryson Kelly was actually making a little headwind there in the late stages of the game. What made you go away from him down here to the goal line and go back to Randall?
We have a first group of this goal line formation, and Randall was the guy that practiced it all week. So that's what we went with. It didn't work very well. Last week, our goal line offense was very good. This week, our goal line offense was terrible. And we need to take another good look at that. But certainly that's why we did it. They had practiced that certain play down there, and all week, Randall Eldridge was the running back. So that's why he was in there.
Question for Spivak. What happened to you on at the end of the second half? Because I know you went to the locker room.
The first half?
Yeah.
I just kind of tweaked my knee a little bit on that route. I just jumped up for it, kind of kicked my legs out, and it came down weird on it. And there was nothing wrong with it. It's not that bad. You just said if you can play through it, you know, you can play. Until you can't play anymore. Basically, until it was too bad to play, you can just keep playing. So I just talked to coach, and he said as long as he watched me run, as long as I could run full speed, then he put me in there. And so we just went with it.
So how does it feel now?
It feels worse than it did when I was out there, but it'll be fine for next week. It won't be an issue.
Garrett, I was told up in the press box that that 44-yarder was the longest you've ever made to win a game. Were you aware of that?
The only kick I think I've ever made to win a game, so definitely one.
It reminded me, and I've told 2 or 3 people, it reminded me of that 44-yard field goal he made at Dixie State last year to put it into overtime. I mean, it was a very similar feeling, and everybody knew when it came off his foot, it was good. These 4 guys right here stepped up and made huge plays today.
It seemed like you were stuck in a lot of third and long situations there late in the game. What can you do to not, be in those kind of situations?
Win on first down a little bit better offensively. We got stuck in 2 or 3 series, trying to run the football some series. We had incomplete passes other series, and certainly third and long is not what you want.
Ro, you made that big 100-yard interception return. Tell me what you saw in that route, how you jumped it, and what were you thinking running down the field? Because that was a long development play.
What I saw was I knew it was cover 2, and they like to run a wheel. So what the slot did was he ran wheel, and I seen that our corner he wouldn't make a play on him. So I kind of hugged him more, and I just read the quarterback. As soon as I read the quarterback, he was locked on him, so I just went in, broke him, and just did whatever, and everybody else blocked for me, and that's how I scored. It wasn't me, it was them. I just got the ball, I ran.
Did that kind of feel like the momentum changer for you guys?
Yeah, I think it just kind of got us going, because we knew something was going to get us going, and we just needed it to, happen. And I think that's just kind of what it was, and however it happened, it was gonna happen eventually, sooner or later. As long as you believe, and it will happen. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think that was big.
Was it, after having Prince's touchdown called back saying before progress would stop, to come out and have one stand like that, to actually, have a big play that holds up for you? What was that like?
Yeah, it's just like you never know what the refs are. You know what I'm saying? You got to look around for flags, clipping, something like that. And I was just, I was like, I didn't see no flags. And honestly, I was really too tired to look around, so everybody just came and jumped on top of me, and they stood. So I'll take it.
Okay. the Western Oregon coach said the only call that he would question from the refs was a penalty on one of their punts, and I think it was their last punt. Then what he said. And so, what is your take on the officiating?
Oh, I didn't think we roughed the kicker. I think.
Well, just overall.
When he watched the tape, I don't think that was a penalty. I think today was a tough game to officiate. There were 4 or 5 close calls, and any time a close call ends up being a big play, that is the focus on how the officials did. So I think there were 4 or 5 big calls. One was the Prince Hall when we recovered the fumble and scored. There seemed to be 2 or 3 of those, and maybe even 4 or 5 of those over the course of a game. There were critical calls, critical situations, and the great thing about officials, I mean, they see it one time, the whole crowd gets to see it on instant replay. You know, I'm sure, and that's why there's instant replay at some of the BCS schools and in the NFL, because one quick snapshot, and I know the officials always try to do their very best, but sometimes they don't get it right, and we all get to see it 2 or 3 times on the instant replay, so it's a little bit unfair.
Speaking of that, how different is it having an instant replay in the stadium like that? Because I don't think either school have a video board that can play back something like that.
No, we had a video board at our last home game. It was exciting to see, but something like this is really a different venue for us, and that's why we're so excited that the 2 universities got together to continue the battle in Seattle. Both student athletes, our student athletes and their student athletes, really benefit for the opportunity to come here. The crowd benefits. It was just a great event. Certainly, we enjoy it more tonight because we won, but it was just overall a great event for both universities.
You guys, you touched on it briefly about halftime. You guys had been down 21 points at halftime in 2 years, hadn't won a game after being down 21 points at halftime in 4 years. What was the atmosphere in the locker room when you guys went in there, and how do you guys rally yourselves when you start out playing so flat?
I think it was a great atmosphere, actually. I mean, for being down 21, I wasn't there the whole time. I was getting some treatment stuff. But as far as when I walked in there, the guys were rallying around each other. I mean, you couldn't see more positive attitudes for being down 21. We all just talked about getting together, no pointing fingers. We knew we were down 21, and the next half we were going to have to score more than that. So it was basically, I mean, everyone just kind of grouped together and said, yeah, defense, we're going to need some stops here. And then, they kind of looked at us, the offense, you need to put some points on the board. We said, okay, that's fine with us, we'll do that. And, everyone was real positive. We got rah-rah, we ran out there and get the ball first helped, and then the way the defense played second half, I think it really proved to be significant at halftime.
Teams, in my opinion, teams can go 2 different ways at that point. We really rallied. I mean, I don't want to say it surprised me, but it did a little bit, just because I've never been on a team that's been down 21-0 and thought didn't have a second doubt about the fact that we would come back and win. So it was fun, actually.
I think that's one of the special things about this team. We have 20 seniors, but more than that, you take a look at all the games they've won. They've never ever doubted the fact that they were going to win, and that's why the halftime was so unique. Wow, we dug ourselves a hole. It's 21-0. Let's do one series at a time. We go out offensively, got the ball, went down and scored. That gave the energy. When Jerome took it back for a touchdown, that was some huge energy. The crowd got into it, and it didn't even seem like we were down throughout that entire second half. You'd have to take a look at the score to see what team did have the most points, because certainly all the energy and the momentum was on the Central side. And they've got great confidence. This team has amazing confidence.
What does a win like this do for you guys in the future? Obviously, being down big at halftime, just going forward, what does this do for you guys' football team going forward?
Well, I think it continues to build your confidence that at any given point you've got playmakers on this team. Hopefully, it also teaches us that we got to go out and play a little bit better at the start of the game. That's 2 games in a row that we have not played very well in that first quarter. And this game, we didn't play very good in the first half. So we need to take a look at that as a staff, see if we're doing everything we can to make sure we're putting these guys in a position to be successful early in the game.
Offensively, in the first half, they were really moving the ball on you. What were they doing in order to kind of gain those chunks of yards against you in the first half?
I don't know. I think they mixed things up pretty well. They mixed up the run and the pass well. They got a couple big plays throwing the ball downfield. You know, we had one PI, but they had a couple big plays. I really think the ball bounced their way that first half. There was a couple of crazy plays, and it all seemed to go their way. And offensively, we ran the ball fairly well, but we just didn't get down and put some third downs together and move the chains like you need to and go get some points.
You guys, Western Washington wasn't here, and Battle in Seattle was built on that rivalry, Central Western. You had a new Western here, Western Oregon. Did it still feel like the Battle in Seattle?
I think so, but maybe not as much as a rivalry game. But I definitely think it was definitely a battle, you know. So I guess it was, you know. But it's a new becoming, basically. You know what I'm saying? It's Sports Central. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a good venue that they should carry on, you know, because it's gonna be a battle every year. You know what I'm saying? They found a good team, and it pretty much was the same, but it just wasn't Western. It just wasn't the Vikings. You know, when you're in Central, you've been there for like 5 years. You grow up to hate Western. You know, so it's just kind of like, you know, you got to get used to it. That's pretty much what it is. But yeah, we hate them too. You know, we hate everybody.
So this is the second conference game your team has played, second close game. Do you think that since the majority of GNAC games have been close, do you think that the sports writers and the people in control of the D2 media poll and the coaches poll will take a little bit more notice into the Great Northwest Athletic Conference and maybe start putting them in the same category as a Lone Star, Rocky Mountain type conference?
I don't think they will right now. You know, we only have 4 teams in our conference playing football, so it's tough to compare against the Lone Star and the RMAC and the MIAA. You know, they have lots of teams. Any given day, you know, any team could have a big year. Right now, we've got a good conference. We've got a very, very competitive conference, and I think there's some equality across the 4 schools where everybody thinks they have a chance to win every single Saturday, but I wouldn't quite compare us to some of those major conferences. However, it is tough to complain because we're ranked very high in the national poll, we're ranked very high in the regional poll, so as long as we continue to win, I do think we will gain that respect. I think it will take some time, and maybe add a few schools to our GNAC before we're considered equal to some of those other major conferences.
Coach, philosophically, you look at teams that have played with 2 quarterbacks and alternated them. You don't see many teams that are successful doing that over the long haul. How important is it to you down the stretch to find one of your quarterbacks and say, okay, this is our guy, we're sinking or swimming with you, and having him be the guy?
Oh, I think you always go into a game and you try to get the best 11 or the best 22 and try to decide who's going to give you the best chance to win, and you do that with the quarterback position. Who do we think is going to give us the best chance to win this game? I don't think in anybody's mind to say, okay, Ryan, you're the first half guy, and Cole, you're a second half guy, or let's see if we can get behind 21, Cole, and then we're really going to put your back to the wall and see if you can pull that thing out. And it's really not the plan. And going in this week, I really sincerely thought Ryan was going to be the guy. We're going to start fast and get going. Certainly that was not the case. And, you know, Cole has done an amazing job the last 3 weeks. I think you back yourself into a corner if you just stick with a guy and say, hey, sink or swim, we're going with this guy. And that's one thing I think we've proven over the last 3 weeks, that if one guy's not playing very well, the other guy needs to go in and play well. And Cole has certainly done that, and I respect the heck out of him for doing it.
And Cole, following on that, you 3rd straight, boy, how many games in a row? Well, the 3 straight games in a row and like 5 games this season or so that you've come in midway through the game. What has it been like for you, and what was that like today?
It's been extremely fun. You know, honestly, I've gone in and we've been in a hole a couple times, and just thought, I can't really get us into a hole. I mean, we're already here. So just go in and play hard, try and make the right decisions, try and distribute the ball. You know, simple things, just everything the quarterback tries to do each week.
With 20 senior players, what's that going to do for your younger players? How are you developing them behind these guys, like an All-American athlete right here, and Cole coming in to rescue the games? How is that affecting the younger, like the redshirted freshmen and those guys?
Our redshirt freshmen, our young players, they get a chance to watch these guys practice. These guys practice extremely hard on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday every single week. And that's some of the reason why they play so well and they compete so hard on Saturday. They put a lot into it on Tuesday, they put a lot into it on Wednesday, they put a lot into it on Thursday, and these young players can take a look at that and see the work ethic and see the energy, and then come out here on Saturday and see them become great playmakers. It's almost like they've put this senior class and these leaders up on a pedestal, and they're trying to achieve and try to become players like that. It really has raised the bar, and it's really neat. We signed 36 freshmen last year, all from the state of Washington. A lot of them were here in jerseys on the sideline. They had a chance to get their first taste of the battle in Seattle, and I know they're all excited that they chose Central coming out of high school.
Spivak, are you going to be able to go next week?
Oh yeah, it won't be a problem. I'll be fine.
And with the players, like I saw Ryan with a clipboard and taking notes basically during the game. What's he working on? Is he just watching what Cole's doing and just figuring out what he's doing wrong, or?
We have 3 quarterbacks that dress every game. 1 quarterback plays. 1 quarterback does all the signals, and then the 3rd quarterback takes down all the plays, writes them down, so we have something to review between series. And so if Cole's playing, David, our 3rd string quarterback, he's kind of our signal quarterback. And so if I don't tell him what to call, then we have a quarterback signal it. Just like the defensive coordinator, Joe Lord, he signals to the defense. And then we have somebody to write down the plays, and that was what Ryan was doing.
I don't want to keep you guys too long, but whose camcorder is that? Is that personal, or is that?
Yeah, man, we're making a documentary.
Jerome grabbed that about 7 weeks ago. He said, "Hey, Coach, can I bring this on the bus?" And he has not dropped it yet. It's a pretty good deal. And with the ride that we've had over the first 8 weeks, we're going to make sure he carries it with him every time we go on the road, every time we play a game. So that's going to be our highlight video.
You got some highlights today?
Peckers and Jerome commandeered it.
There you go.
Commandeered it. Call it what you want. Call it what you want, you got it.
Any more questions? Thank you very much. Just an update for everybody with pertaining to the national rankings. Coach mentioned Abilene Christian lost today. They're the #1 team in the country. They lost to West Texas A&M at home. So that's just informational for you. And they were also the number 1 team in the region. That's all we have.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.